For those with good taste.
What is up, guys? It's your boys from For Those with Good Taste. I'm Lenny. He's Matt. We're here with our first mate of taste, our guy, D'Angelo, in the building again.
Gang, gang.
And we are back for our second episode of our world-renowned TV show.
Yeah.
Internet sensation.
Mm-hmm.
3,
Right on.
2, 1. Spoilers! All right, coming on hot off the heels of episode 1, where we talked about The Gentleman. We went in a million different directions. It was a hilarious ride. Please check it out. This week, though, however, we are going to be talking about another instant classic, guys.
Well, I thought you were going to go the banger route on this one.
No, this I'm certifying this an instant classic.
Mad fire emojis.
Yes. Fire,
Okay.
fire.
Yeah.
We're talking Gemini Man.
Ooh.
For those of you out there that watched last month's episode of our dear show here, we were talking about a battle for the ages.
Yeah.
A tale as old as time.
There you go.
Of epic proportions.
One more
Yes.
Disney quote, buddy. You're almost there.
A clash of the titans.
Nailed it.
Will Smith, Denzel Washington, who's better?
Mhm.
We thought there would be no more appropriate way than to come back in month 2 and talk about Will Smith.
Yeah, it's really just part 2 of that conversation.
Yes, sir.
It's playing to the multifaceted phenomenon that is Will Smith, I guess,
Yes.
to put it in D's words.
Very well put.
So this movie is not without controversy, right? It's an expensive movie. It features Ang Lee and Will Smith teaming up in an 120 frame rate sensation.
Yeah, would you say, D, being the expert that you are, 120 frames per second? Is that something that a lot of TVs are really kind of built for?
They're not. If you are lucky enough to own an 120 frame rate TV, you got the most out of this movie. If not, maybe not so much.
So probably one of those things where the budget probably could have been put somewhere else.
Yeah, sure.
Makes
So
sense.
this movie was not cheap. It's $138 million. Not up there with like the Avengers movies that are in the 200 and something million, but nonetheless, it's expensive. It ends up only making 173 million total. For those of you who out there who don't understand how this works, if a movie costs 130 something million dollars, take that in half, and that's the budget that they put out on PR. So they, in essence, ends up losing close to $100 million on this movie.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's catastrophic.
Big L.
Yeah, so some would call that a huge loss
Yes.
in the business world.
But maybe that doesn't tell the whole story, right? And that's what we're here for. We're going to get into our spoiler-filled review. But first, as always, D, I'm going to need you to take the next 30 seconds to give the people at home a chance to kind of get sold on this movie and why they should take a couple hours out of their day, stop what they're doing right now, go watch that, and then come back and listen to us talk about it.
All right. I got it, guys. You like Wild Wild West? You
I
like
do.
Bright?
Nope.
You like Concussion?
Ooh, okay.
All right. All action movies by Will Smith.
Concussion.
It's a lot of action. It's a lot of action.
Yeah,
in
football,
Concussion.
baby.
Way to set the
Yes,
tempo.
you see it.
Football.
Listen, guys.
Data.
You like Will Smith, this is the movie for you. A lot of exotic places, a lot of fighting, a lot of actions going on.
Matt, can you say Cartagena again for me?
Cartagena.
Yeah,
Ooh.
exactly. Colombia.
It's provocative.
Exactly. This is the movie for you. You love Will Smith. Classic Will Smith in this movie. This is for you.
That is a great sales pitch, D. And I think you guys know the deal. You're going to go home and take a look at it. You also know the deal. Before we get into the review, we're going to need you to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Find us at For Those with Good Taste on Instagram, Good Taste Live on Twitter. D, where can they find you real
Man,
quick?
you got to hit us in the chat, y'all. Hit me in the chat. That's
Yeah,
the only
man.
place I am. Just hit me in the chat.
Dude lives in the chat.
I'm there.
All right, let's kick this
But if
baby
you
off.
are going to kick off this journey with us, be prepared to have this movie spoiled for you.
From here on out, it's over. We're spoiler city. Come on
Mad
here.
spoilers.
So we start off Will Smith on a hill with a sniper rifle.
You got me already. Like, sign me up.
Hook, line, sinker.
Opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the best visuals that you can possibly start this movie off with.
Mm-hmm.
Calm setting, but you can kind of feel the tension. Something building up. Something's about to go down.
I don't know what it's called, y'all. And maybe you can help me out because you guys are a lot more technical than I am. When they do the bubble with the train in the opening scene, you know what I'm talking about? where it's like the bubble effect where the train is going by.
Like a fisheye?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Fisheye. That
Nailed
part
it.
was. Yeah, it's called fisheye.
I know a little bit about cameras. Yeah,
Okay.
fisheye.
That's what it was. You don't really see that too much in movies, and I thought that was really, really cool.
It's a great call out.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously one of the big selling points here is like interesting camera work was what they were going for, and doing something unique like that is
A
interesting.
win.
Yeah, I really just love the way that this movie just starts. Again, I talked about the tension being built up, but there's almost that sense of knowing that something's going to happen, but not really sure because it's the start of a movie, how it's going to kick it off. How did you guys feel in that first scene?
I thought it was a really tense way to start it. For me, it really establishes what we're going to be getting as far as character work from Will Smith here, right? Like, he is 17 football fields away.
That's
that actually sounds too accurate. He was 750 football fields away, and he shot, and he hits this man. And I'm like,
a high-speed train, mind you.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say you're doing a disservice.
Yeah,
buddy.
okay.
He was far away, but they were on the multi-bullet train. They were on the bullet train.
Yeah.
Did you guys appreciate him doing the little math equation like 2 seconds into it before he loads up the gun?
It was
He's
for
like, I
those.
gotta calculate this.
It was like Goodwill Hunting, dude. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
like he's like
Rain
staring.
Man.
He's staring at the board, and the numbers are moving around.
It's
and shit.
it's like the meme.
I think you're thinking of Hangover.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's
No,
talking
yeah,
about. That's exactly what I was about to say.
yeah.
I mean, they do it in Rain Man also,
Yeah.
but I think you're missing.
That's
the
exactly what
fact.
I was about to.
That one too, when he's
Yeah.
doing the gambling, right?
Yeah,
It really did kind of set the tempo. And to your point, Len, we get a quick understanding of a conscientious sniper who's not really sure whether or not he's ready to pull the trigger.
I've never seen somebody do trigonometry in a movie outside of Hangover and this.
I'm glad you were able to name what type of math it was.
Yeah.
Well, it really goes to show that like the shit they should teach you in school, that they were all like who uses that? It's like, well, it's like realistically like
Will Smith in a sniper.
1% of people
Yes.
found it useful in 8th grade math class, and like Will Smith's character was one of those guys.
Oh,
he was like, this is lit.
Yeah.
Triangles, motherfucker.
Yeah. There should probably
Wow.
be like a small disclosure. Like, this subject will only be needed if you're an
Speed.
elite level assassin who plans on sniping people in high speed
Speed
trains.
plus distance minus velocity.
Plus me laying on my belly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Minus
What if it rumbles when I go to shoot?
divided
Like,
by
that's a whole
wind
thing.
chill.
But
I ate weird Taco Bell yesterday. I'm feeling kind of nasty. I got to angle up a little bit because I'm burping.
So
Like,
imagine you're feeling all this
Yeah.
and you still manage to nail the shot, which is exactly what he does.
Fire.
was he happy about it though?
No,
No.
he was not.
And it wasn't the Taco Bell.
I'm disappointed because I didn't kill this guy the way I wanted to.
Yeah, right out the gate, like he lets you kind of know he's not. He's still that guy that you see him hit from 700 football fields away that hit a sniper shot, but he's kind of unsure of himself. There's a little bit of a confidence kick that maybe it's time for me to step out the game. Maybe this is it for me.
But do you think it's weird that it's like, all right, man, nice round number. I got to 72 kills, confirmed kills. I think I'm done. I'm tired of seeing their faces at night.
D, where's your cap? Like, if you were killing people, not saying you are, but if you were,
Hypodermically.
where would you cap it? Is like 50 a good number? Is like
My attitude. For me, it's I'm in the game until somebody take me out.
well. So would you say
I'm not out.
I think I would just go around saying I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna be like I'm gonna keep it a buck, and that just means I'm getting out at 100.
No.
Oh, you gonna wilt the still on him?
No.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm getting out at 100.
No.
What are you thinking?
I'm-
You thinking
No,
like
he's
63?
going till the wheels fall off.
Exactly.
MJ
I'm
in the
to
garden?
You're gonna
I'm to the fuck. I'm till somebody put a flat on this tire. I'm till the wheels fall off, baby.
D's gonna be on like a park bench, old as fuck, and some guy's gonna come by. He's gonna have a cane that has a knife on the bottom.
Dog.
Fucking jab.
Open up the
So-
newspaper.
Yeah.
Hit him with the
Yeah.
So clearly D is the opposite of our main protagonist in this
don't
film.
ask me. I'm shooting
Okay.
motherfuckers till I fall off.
All right, so we know
Y'all
that
must have forgot.
the retirement train ain't coming anytime soon for D, but it does seem to come for young Henry, as we come to learn him to be.
Yeah.
Did you guys think it was weird that he was just like, yeah, I'm kind of ready to retire?
No, I mean, well, how much does CIA pay, or like whatever branch of
It's
the
the
military?
DIA.
DIA.
Don't
Sorry,
mess this up, dude.
Sorry, my bad.
You dead
Disrespect
naming
like
people?
that?
How much does that pay? Because I think that's what it comes down to. Like,
65 grand a year.
He's 51 in this, right? He's been at it since he was 18 years old. Damn. He probably hasn't spent too much of it because he's been just flying around murking people the whole entire time. So,
All of those things you said would lead me to believe that he got a nice little nest egg.
exactly.
I mean, but you wouldn't know it based on the boat that he rented.
No.
Stay low key.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you want to
Sure,
blend
okay.
in. His whole
Why
life
you
has
all
been
flashy?
blending in,
You're right.
Yeah.
What do you think of the area he decided to retire to?
Perfect place for an assassin.
Yeah.
In the middle of the sticks, in a nice modern shack.
Works.
I mean,
Yeah.
my man's security system was like
A1.
300 yards out, son.
Yeah, A1.
Detection, oh
Love
no,
it.
Right
can't
to the
have
celly,
this.
too.
Love it. Love it.
I mean, he's definitely connected, and it kind of. Did you guys feel like when he's telling his boss that he's ready to retire, that they were just going to be okay with that?
No.
Well, in the real world, yes, but like when I watch a movie, do I assume they're going to be okay
No.
with it? Probably not.
I mean,
No.
even in the real world, when you're the best of the best, there's still some pushback.
Well,
There's
yeah,
still
yeah,
some,
yeah.
Hey, man, there's a little coaxing. I don't want you to leave because you're so profitable to me.
I mean, well, we watch like fighting, and you see Chuck Liddell getting knocked out for the 900th time, and it's like,
I mean, you're
well,
talking about the Brett Favres of the world, where we're done with you, but you're still
we're
kind
gonna
of
keep
picking up
trying
this
to
paycheck.
like 10 years after you're done, we're gonna try and dust you off and see if you got anything
Yeah.
left. Oscar De La Hoya,
Yeah,
like, let's see what you're doing.
Watch.
So that I think that he's probably got some money held up there. He probably could get a better boat, but I think that's for when you're like 65 and you're a little bit out of the game. He's still too fresh to it, I think.
But watching the movie, he wasn't washed by
No.
any stretch.
No. I mean, my
He
man was
wasn't washed.
feeling himself so much that he was flirting with this new
Come on,
boat
man.
teller like immediately off
Does
the
anybody
bat.
remember her name? Because I know in real life,
I'll pull it up.
Emily Elizabeth Winstead is her name,
Yeah,
right?
I don't-
How'd you feel about her throughout the movie?
I
we haven't talked about this at all.
She to me, and I don't want to do what we did last month where we get off in a bunch of different directions on
Yeah.
actors. She's
I'm
like
just asking you how you feel about the movie.
she's hit or miss, and in this movie I liked her.
Okay.
I did like her. I like what was Birds of Prey? I thought she was like so.
I
This
thought
was
she did well with the Huntress.
yeah. I think she's actually maybe better in this one.
Why is that? Like more likable? Sorry to cut you off.
No. You didn't cut me off at all.
Well, so as we get along in this beginning, like the first third of the movie, I really liked the fight scene that she has coming up.
brought me back to her in Live Free or Die Hard.
Okay,
when she
way
plays,
back. Okay,
the daughter of John McClane.
Lucy, yeah.
Does a fantastic job as Lucy McClane to an extent. We get very small bits and pieces of her, but I thought she did really well with this film.
What did you think of the actual character itself? The introduction. I'd say specifically, I had one thing that kind of stood out to me. Would you think a guy is a psycho who just like starts like he's whacking the bee like immediately? He's being a little too like, I know what's going on here, and she's still willing to go out on a date with him. I just thought he was a little
red flag.
Yeah.
No woman in the real
That
world
that
would ever
actually
let that happen.
seemed more unrealistic to me than like anything else about him.
I thought the quote was great because she's like, "You're not really a live and let live kind of guy," and we've just confirmed that this man killed 72 people.
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I think you need to understand who you're dealing with.
Even funnier that she knew that going in.
Exactly.
So that quote letting it fly right there. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, that's her playing it coy, right?
Yeah.
Like really trying to downplay what
like
was
I don't know you, but I know you.
But I
like-
know you.
But I think you'd be like, that's like the way you just sounded is the way I imagine she would sound when some dude's like swatting a bee in front of her, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna like, yeah, you're cool, like it's been great talking to you, like let's get you.
Right,
And
right.
instead, she's like
Turned
entertaining
on?
it, and then he goes a step further, and he's like, "Bitch, I know you. This is yours, right?" Like, because he shows back up at the dock with
Dude came in hot.
the tracker, right?
And props to her for kind of playing it off.
Mm-hmm.
Like for every line that he had, she was like, yeah, that's a little bit weird. Yeah, I don't like that you're talking to me like this. Yeah, a civilian would think it's weird that you're talking to me like
you
this.
fucking psycho.
Oh,
leave me
you're a
alone.
fucking psycho. Yeah,
Yeah.
She did a great job playing with it.
Seen right through that shit, y'all.
Mhm.
The whole time
Yeah.
I was like, nah.
Okay. Young girl ends up on a small retirement island. Like,
Oh,
come on, man.
well-
this sticks out like a sore
Like you
thumb.
said, you see through it. It's like, well, it's the second most important actor in the movie. Of course, she was going to be entwined to the
We
story.
got a regular Dr. Doolittle over here.
I didn't even
Sherlock
I didn't even know
Holmes.
her at that point in time. Movie. Like I went into it completely blind. So nah, I just saw her, I was like, man, she lied.
Yeah, she was definitely lying. I think we can all agree. But what was like why did she go on the date with him? Like, what was in terms of her reason for being there, right? Her cover. What benefit did it have to the storyline of why she was there that she went on that date? Like, I just don't understand why strategically, if you are trying to do your job properly, and they said that you come when they finally go on the date, right? And they go to dinner. He shows up with like the
Her license or
packet, and
whatever,
it's
yeah.
like, well, it's just like, yeah, like I know you had blah blah blah, 7 years this, no demerits, like how impressive it is, but then like you had no demerits, but the first chance you had to go out with the guy that you're supposed to be like watching, you were gonna get the buns. Like, what was the plan here?
I don't know. I'm not gonna go as far to say she was gonna give up the buzz, but I will say that. I mean, it's.
I would say that.
Yeah, well,
But
Give
what
up
I am
the buns
saying
to
is
win,
that
so.
I think if I'm her character, right? If I put myself in her character role,
Okay.
I would say, I know who this person is. He doesn't know who I am yet. I know he's a trained assassin. I know he's kind of already has an idea about who I am. Let me go on the date because it's more beneficial for me to go on the date and not raise any red flags versus me saying no.
D, you say not raise any red flags. If she was like, hey, buddy, you've been a psycho since the second you walked up to this fucking thing, this boat deck. You start accusing me of bullshit. I don't even know what the fuck that thing is. Do you get it at Radio Shack? Like, I would not want to go on a date with that person.
I think she played into a very interesting dynamic where they're kind of playing chess at this point. Like they do have an answer for each other's moves.
But in theory, she knows who she is playing chess with, right? And you're not going to win a game of chess with this
Right.
guy who hit from 7,000 football fields away.
This number keeps growing. Can we be
Sniper.
consistent, please, fam? 7,000 football fields. We're like in Bangladesh right now. What are we doing?
Yo,
That shot was
son.
from the top of a building in Bangladesh.
Steph Curry couldn't hit it from that far. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, he could.
Let's call it what it is right now. At this point, she is in this chess match with the most world-renowned killer. Maybe her goal is the closer I am to danger, the further I am from harm. So if this guy thinks I'm this person, would it be weird? I think any person who's intimidated would have just ran off.
Sure.
The fact that she was able to keep up with him,
She tried to power play him.
it made
Yeah.
it
That
interesting, and maybe she thought she could win. You know,
Yeah.
you say that she didn't think that. What's the first thing, especially in that line of work? Ego is huge, man. These guys think that they can solve anything they want at any time they want. They can kill anybody they want. For her, she was like, I'm going on this assignment, probably the baddest dude on the planet. Let me figure out how I can win this.
What was her actual goal there? Because like obviously she's there to watch him, right?
Give up the buns.
But what's the point of her? Like, why would they put her there to watch him if they were the next day going to kill him? Or was it that they saw she was?
No. So that's now you're getting into how the entire storyline plays out, because it's not until that visit with Jack Willis, his buddy on that boat,
Mhm.
that you start realizing how much surveillance they really have on him. She's one key or one cog to the puzzle, right? Where she's the visual surveillance, but obviously they got a drone on this guy and he was able to pick that up immediately. There's so many different facets to how they were tracking him.
So next up is like the first big action sequence of the movie, right? So you referenced it. He has this security system rigged up around his whole thing. He's sleeping at night, gets woken up to his alarm going off, and he's like, "Oh fuck, it's on."
It's going down.
Go time.
Right. What do you guys think of that scene?
Dope.
You like that?
Typical Will Smith for me.
Yep.
He performs well in these sort of roles. It's very natural. I didn't feel like it was something that's off par for him. Dropped right into the hole, picked up the strap, started killing them.
I think it's fire to have like the hidden trap door in your bedroom with the ladder going down into the house. Like I think that's that should be in most homes.
It really did go to play the role that he is this guy. Like he is the calm, calculated assassin, that he was able to have all this stuff rigged up and be ready to go at the drop of a dime, because he knew as soon as he got that wild card information that things were already in motion for shit to start going down.
Confession, guys. I really want to have I saw it in a movie once where they got the Velcro like gun holder under your bed.
Ah, okay.
I really want one.
You
of
want
those.
Velcro, huh?
It's
In the world of 2021,
Yeah,
you
you
want
just
those
gotta-
high-powered magnets where you could just...
okay, that's true. Yeah.
Oh,
the
it's-
movie had the Velcro, but
Yeah, I'll hook you up with a couple links from Instagram when we're done with this. I got you.
I keep
You
a
have
knife
one?
by-
Brother, when you have a daughter,
Yeah.
you are immediately looking at
Dog.
how you can
Different
have
ways you
guns.
can have guns in your house.
Hey,
How you can have guns in your house and how they are
I
easily
hit it,
accessible.
yeah.
100%.
I got the knife hidden in the tuck of my bed post. So yeah,
Immediately.
yeah, come on, sir.
But it does, as being that guy who's always waiting for the other shoe to drop, that scene was, okay, how are they going to play this? Are they going to make it where he just kills a couple of henchmen and he's right back into it? Or are they actually going to put him in danger? And I think it was really interesting that the people around him were immediately taken out. Like his spotter, he calls him up to be like, hey man, you got to
I thought
get
that
out
was
of
great,
here.
actually. That whole
Perfect
scene
scene.
there. Yeah, I like that one.
Fantastic scene.
That's one of the better scenes in the movie, I think. It's just that quick phone call to that guy and like, you're burned, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, no, you're fucking kidding. He's like, dude, why would I call you? I don't even like you that much.
I don't play like that.
Yeah, like you think this guy should have known the second he called, like, oh,
He
this
don't
is
call
real.
me. He don't.
But
Yeah,
he kind of did though. I think that they did a good enough job where they were like, hey, this is urgent. So he knew, he was like,
Yeah.
Because when he's like, hey, leave your girlfriend, leave your shit, get out of town. He's like, oh, all right, man, are you okay?
But don't you
I'm
not
not too many questions. Bro, I know what time
Don't
it
ask
is.
if I'm okay. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
No, I'm solving my problems.
Huh?
Like that glass shattering, I was like, oh fuck, he gone.
Yeah.
Like he done.
But it's like Will's like, no, I have my shit on lockdown. I'm calling you to tell you lock it up.
That glass shattered like Steve Austin's intro music.
316 day.
It was like that.
Yeah,
But
you knew what it was like. You got
You
stunned
knew
right
you
afterwards.
knew what
Yeah.
time it was.
It signified that shit was starting to hit the fan
Yeah.
immediately.
For sure.
So all in the same. He gets out of the house. He comes through like the little
Escape hatch.
right underneath his steps. Shoots out a couple dudes' ankles. Calls it a day. Gets out of there.
Yeah.
Goes.
Kills the snipers from not 7,000 football fields away, but more like half a football field away. He kills that sniper.
Yeah, with like a handgun, I think.
We
It
got
was-
like
it was pretty
75
impressive.
confirmed kills now.
He did like bang bang. Like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
two of them out there too.
Smack.
Which I was like, you thought that Five Guys was gonna come and take this man out?
You need a little
Bring
bit
the
more
real
than
goons.
burgers.
Yeah.
You know the scenes that they don't show in these movies is like those meetings.
Yeah.
Like I want to know who you're calling in. Like, are you just like, hey, get Collins away from the post office. We're gonna go take down this guy. Or do you have like the badass motherfuckers who are like, we're gonna take this guy down?
Can't
Because
be.
if you're sending Five Guys,
Those henchmen,
bro, Five Guys ain't enough to start a burger joint. You trying to kill this guy?
those-
What's wrong
You
with
you never even get like repercussions either. Like I want to see the meeting afterwards. Like after those Five Guys are dead, and they're like, well, Tom was a good guy, man, and like you sent Tom out there with 4 other dudes. Fuck, man.
Like you're going after Henry Brogan, dude. You didn't think a small army
Yeah.
would suffice?
We have the men. Like,
You said 5, bro?
yeah,
I believe you said 5?
yeah.
Who?
He has 73 bodies to his name, bro. He
Sir.
shot somebody from space. He shot someone from
You
space.
thought Tom from the post office was good?
Yes.
Those are the meetings I want to see. Like
Yeah.
I need to see the evaluation.
Yeah, that man like he deserved a demotion. Whoever set that up.
Yeah.
It's a
So
bad look.
he goes and warns the girl whose name is still escaping me. Help me out, Matt. What's her name?
I need to look it up.
Oh,
I
we didn't get there.
apologize. Yeah, I tried.
Okay, we tried to. So either way, he goes and saves her ass, right? He's like, he shows up. Do you think it was also a little suspect? Like, if her
I knew you were going with
her
this.
immediate reaction should have been far more intense, because it's like he's already been a psycho. Then we go on dinner
Well,
dates
she
together.
told him. He
Yeah.
told
Her name
like,
was
yo,
Danny.
I know who you are.
Danny.
name was
Okay,
Danny.
So Danny lets him just like run up in the house, hand over the mouth. She didn't pull up like, I'm gonna fuck you up, really. I don't know.
She was ready to go. So,
Yeah. I didn't feel her response was where it should have been. But she immediately knows, like, also she actually responds probably better than the friend who died did, because she's like, if this
Oh, you dead ass.
yeah, like we gotta go.
Well,
Okay,
I mean,
let's
we've already
go.
kind of signified that she's supposed to be the smart
Yeah.
badass, right?
Yep.
Like she's supposed to be up there. What did you? Because we've kind of skipped over it just a bit. What did you guys think of that scene where the two like bosses are meeting to kind of decide Henry's future at this point? So we got the head lady, who I guess is like the head of the DIA.
Mhm.
Then we have Clive Owen, who just scoots in Mr. Bad Guy, and you know that like he's in charge of some lab. Like it is so obvious at this point.
Yeah, well, you immediately know that like one's kind of a red herring. The girl like doesn't play too much into the movie, but you know, if Clive Owen showing up, that like, okay, this is the main.
Like
big
he's got
bad.
got an
He's
evil
the big
lair.
bad.
He's pulling the strings behind
Yeah,
the
big
behind
man.
the scenes. I'd read somewhere that like they there's like a weird parallel to this, where like if you go watch the Bourne Identity, that it's like basically in the Bourne Identity, he plays the character who's going to kill, who plays like young Will in this, where it's like Treadstone has sent somebody to go kill Jason Bourne, and like that's who Clive
he's
Owen
the-
kind
yeah.
of is to that movie. And this is kind of like the graduation of he's the person pulling the strings, and he has the killed like the assassin out there. you know?
Without going on that quick tangent, what do you guys think of Clive Owen in this movie? Actor, role,
he
execution.
Clive Owen.
You know, there's I think that is exactly it, right? Like
Clive
there
Owen.
are guys that you're gonna see in movies, and I think that you just know Donald Sutherland or somebody like that. Like there's just certain actors that you know what you're gonna get.
Doesn't matter
from
if
them.
you're King Arthur, the bad guy in Inside Man, or fucking this bad guy in Gentleman Man.
the bad guy in or he died in Italian Job. Donald Sutherland, sorry.
Oh yeah. Man, you nailed
So
it right
he
now.
like, but there's just guys that you see in movies, and I think Clive Owen is at this point where I think you know what kind of performance he's going to give in a movie, and for this role, he's going to fit really well. So we get to one of my favorite scenes, like I said, the little boathouse scene where she's just like it gets a little beat up, but ends up beating the bag out of this guy in the little boathouse.
Oh,
I like movies where they don't let
women get beat up.
No,
Okay.
don't mind women getting beat up in movies. Let that be clear. What I'm saying is,
I'm gonna clip that.
I don't mind when they don't let the main actor be like impervious to anything.
Yeah.
Like, give me a little scuff, give me a little fight. Like, they don't win every fight, sort of thing. Like, I like that about her. She caught a couple booms.
Both of the leads in this, Will and her, are vulnerable, I think, through a majority of this movie.
Yeah.
Like they, you know how good they are, but at the same time, I think there is a level of like vulnerability to them.
To Dee's point, I like being able to see a main character get the shit kicked out of them.
I do.
Because there's something about being able to come back when I know you're hurting and still being able to deliver. But that scene where she's like the guy's threatening her, either you're gonna tell me now or you're gonna tell me 5 minutes from now without your teeth.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I'm gonna flip this on you, and then I'm gonna throw your teeth on the floor.
That's like the same thing at the beginning where we said like it really sets the tone for Will's character when you see the shot get hit and all of that. I think that scene sets kind of the rest of the movie for her character, where like she can hold her own, and then she's also on that thug shit when it's time to get the words out of the guy, right?
Yeah. So at this point, we understand who Danny is, and then we understand who our main character Henry is.
And they're basically on the run at this point.
Yeah, like Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I remember this movie, I go back to the trailer, 2019, when this movie was starting to build up, right before the world went to shit. I remember just wanting to watch this movie because there's a huge emphasis on old Will Smith versus a younger version, what looks like a clone, introducing young Will Smith. And what we've been talking about up until this point builds up to this moment where we're finally introduced to who is we come to be known as Junior, young Will Smith.
Yeah, so real Will Smith, adult Will Smith, and Danny have made their trip to where was it, Matt?
Cartagena.
Cartagena.
Colombia.
So they're there.
Beautiful place.
In the most beautiful scenery I've seen in a movie, maybe. Like there's blues, there's purples, there's pinks, there's a bunch of fucking colors. Looks like springtime everywhere.
Speaking from someone who's been there, looked every bit like it should have. It was fantastic and really showed in that film.
Yes. So we are there. And at this point, somehow again, we don't know yet. Like we're like, Will just they keep finding out where he is. No matter where the fuck he goes, there's just people showing up in the middle of the night, or in the morning in this case, I guess, just looking to fucking murder him. Oh, we are introduced to one other person.
Yes, Baron.
Baron, yes.
Yes, I can't believe I skipped over that.
The comedic relief for the movie.
Yes.
Wong from Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange.
Yep.
For anybody who doesn't know, I remembered his name and then I forgot about it. Benedict Wong. A huge fan of
Benny
his.
Wong, dude.
Benny Wong.
I like him.
I like
Look
Benny
at you.
Wong.
Stop making up people's nicknames, dude. That's
Well, Benny
unbelievable.
Wong
Benny
is
Wong.
Rush Hour,
Okay.
isn't it? Uncle Benny, I think is Benny. No, okay, actually, I knew a Benny.
Pretty sure
Wong
we had
in
a
real
Benny
life,
Wong
too.
that worked in the store.
We
but,
did.
Benedict Wong, if you might know him from Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
Marvel's Infinity Wars.
So they have two people named Benedict in that movie.
Benedict.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch and Benedict Wong.
What?
Which is, I think, why
Who
that
calls
chemistry
who?
looks so good.
Yeah. Benny and Benny. Benny and B.
Oh,
Benny and B.
Benny and Dick.
BBB.
Yeah, I wonder how they do. Like who? I mean, I'm sure
Shut
Cumberbatch
up.
like alphaed him on the name.
B
thing.
or BC. B and BC.
Dude, we're getting into that territory again.
Yeah,
but
we
we're
need to
gonna
stop
go
doing
way
this.
far.
Anyway,
way far off the.
we're introduced to
proverbial
Baron,
reservation.
who's Benedict Wong, who ends up being the pilot, who gets our main characters where they need to be, gets
Where'd
them
they
to
go?
South America, Cartagena,
Yes, that was-
Colombia. What'd you guys think about Benny Wong's character in this?
Another great role for him. Comedic relief, like you already said.
He's gonna get kind of
He
pigeonholed.
lightened it up
I
a
think.
little bit.
Do you think he's gonna get kind of stuck in these roles though?
I mean-
it's like him in the chunky kid from Spider-Man.
So, I've seen him in one of his more serious roles as Kublai Khan in Marco Polo.
I don't know what you just said, but it's trending in a dangerous direction. So
Well, it's Netflix series Marco Polo. Nothing trending on that.
it's
a canceled
the first thing you
series.
said. What was the other word you said?
Kublai Khan.
Hmm.
That's a name.
Hmm.
Come on, guy, take it easy.
Mhm.
Anyway, seeing him in that serious role, it is a cool aspect to see him play the comic relief or comedic relief. I thought he added that where it was needed in this film, because when Will tried it, it didn't really seem to come off that well.
Yeah, well, Will's playing a character that should be like ironically funny. Like when it should be like so not funny the things that he says that it becomes funny, but it never really gets there.
Doesn't get there. But we are introduced to this new version or this upgraded version, what did you guys think of young Will Smith's first introduction?
So actually my first thoughts before you really, well, obviously we know that it's young Will Smith that's the one chasing him, but like
They don't
in the
introduce it
movie
right
wise, that when you don't know, the first thing I thought, and it's funny, I went back in my notes from 2019 on my phone where I had all my movies ranked that I had seen that summer. And my note for Gemini Man, literally one of them is like, Will must have seen John Wick. Because he's like doing the scene walking, and it's the same scene that Keanu and Common do, where they're like walking through the hallways with silencers, like shooting back and forth at each other. I like it immediately when he starts doing that, pops into my head is like, oh, it's just John Wick. He quickly loses the pistol, but that immediately like popped out.
It plays to that, sure.
But you know, you needed a proper foil for this, you know, supposedly top of the food chain killer, right?
Apex predator.
And you see immediately like that this is the best compliment to him that they could find, right? The biggest opponent that he could go against.
Did you guys notice the cut scene when Clive Owen says, they ask him, do you have an asset in place? And he says, I have the perfect asset. And they immediately cut to Danny and Henry like recouping on the beach. Mm-hmm. Did you guys think that Danny was a plant? Like, I thought she might have been working for Gemini at some point.
I definitely did when he kept asking, how do they always know where we are? I thought she was operative.
That she was the one.
I thought she was the one.
Because when he says I have the very best asset in place, I was like, oh damn, he got him with the booty.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't gonna be able to you ain't gonna be able to see past that.
Even furthermore, bro, when they're in, forgets me.
Got the hand now. No, it didn't work that time.
No.
Go ahead.
When he says to her, it'll be all off instinct because I know what he likes. A younger version of me would like someone like you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
another questionable line from Will to her.
It gets weird. It gets real weird.
Yeah, I mean, because I've seen Will with lead actresses, and I don't know if that's.
And he wasn't given the right energy.
Yeah, he wasn't.
This movie, he was missing on all fronts when it came to women.
Yeah.
Maybe I think that might have been intentional in some ways, because like, what social skills would a guy who spent his whole life just killing people have?
Yeah, he's not a sensible guy.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm rolling.
You don't think he's watched the movie Hitch a couple times?
Yeah, we probably should.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I see what I did there. But I thought that special asset, or the very best asset, was Danny. But then we quickly realize it's a better version of himself.
So I wanted to get into this. The movie, obviously, as I said at the beginning, was a flop, right? And I think it'd be an injustice if we were going to talk about this movie.
Flop.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, he went in a little aggressive on that
yes,
one. It was a flop, 100%.
With the
yikes.
Relax, bro.
From a box office perspective, it did not do well.
For sure.
Right? So we have to look at maybe where it went wrong, right? Where did it go off the tracks? And I think two things. The reviews were not very good, right? No. So that's first of all tough. But secondly, when you watch the trailer and you see young Will, and even sometimes when you see him in this, I think it grows on me the more I see this movie, how I feel about his like CGI young self.
Sure.
But it's off-putting, I think, immediately with all of these things. And I think 2019 is right around the time where we got like The Irishman and these other movies, right? And it's just, sometimes it takes a little bit for you to kind of adjust to the way these people look in like a younger standpoint. I said recently to you, I rewatched Captain Marvel, and I really didn't like that movie too much the first time, but I actually, coming across the second time, I even thought that like Sam L looked better when I watched it again.
Okay.
Yeah,
but you're getting this different physical look of someone when, you know, like I know when I saw Joe Pesci in The Irishman, I had to second guess myself. I was like, there's no way this man looks this old. But you had to look at the CGI work, and for me, the CGI work, use the word great CGI work. For me, it was at times a little miss, specifically when looking at Will. Other times when I was looking at the fight scenes.
Yeah. Well, in terms of him like not looking great during them, I think the fight scenes. When I saw this in the movies, and I was really disappointed because when I saw this movie in the movie theaters, I had wanted to go to a cinema that had 120 frames, and I didn't get it. I didn't get there in time, so it was out of those theaters by the time I saw it. So I had to see it on like a regular screen, and I remember thinking to myself like, these action scenes are actually pretty good. But the major issue is that the sped up like aspect of it, I think, actually hurts it in some regards.
Big time, yeah.
Did you still feel that way when you watched it on 120?
This time, like I said, I think I don't want to get into my actual final opinion of this movie too quickly here.
No, just that.
But
just that
this,
part.
I found aspects of this movie visually to be more appealing this time watching it.
On 120 frames.
Yeah, so like I said,
Okay.
I said to you earlier, when I'm talking about the colors, like I was blown away with the way a lot of stuff visually looked in this movie. And yeah, so I think it did look a little better this time.
All right, example for me. I watched part of it on a 120 frame TV, and I was impressed. And I watched the second part of it on a 120 frame rate phone.
Yeah.
And I was impressed.
Still looked good for you.
Still looked great. So,
See, I thought from watching it, I don't think it needed the sped up aspect. Like that was just a gimmick that cost money that I think they wanted to play around with, but it doesn't feel like these action sequences needed it. Like I thought for the most part, this whole chase sequence was good.
Yeah.
Right. Like
there was a moment where they lost me, and I think it was the tail whip to the face with the dirt
sure.
bike.
So like that's you have to kind of
Yikes.
suspend some disbelief there. And I mean, action movies, I think you do that anyways to an extent. But yeah, that scene, I also didn't like the aspect of like he's playing with his food a lot there.
Yes.
And it almost looked
Yes.
like Will would get his ass whooped in most circumstances there. And if this dude didn't want to play around with him, he should have been dead right there. Right?
If you really that guy, you just would have ended it quick.
In the will that he's supposed to be at this point in his age is that guy too, right?
And it, now that you're mentioning this, it's just weird that we end up, as we're understanding Junior more, he comes to be this really conscientious person, very similar to the old Will. But in this sense, it's almost like he
hasn't gotten there yet. He hasn't even had a conversation.
Right, but what I'm saying is at this point, he's establishing dominance, and this is almost like a coming out party for him, right?
He's
like,
being an alpha. Yeah.
He's being an alpha. They maybe played his target as this super dangerous guy, and he wanted to be like, oh, this is your number one target. I'm going to come in here, make a joke out of him. And that's where I kind of fell into that a little bit more, but the visuals didn't really do it for me.
To backtrack on the fight sequence a little, what did you think when he is realizing like who he is?
Yeah.
And he's like, do you know who they sent you after? Like, did you see me?
Did they send a picture of you?
Yeah, and he
Send a
throws the
picture.
fucking grenade and he hits it. He shoots it back at him.
Visually,
Yeah, I like that.
Your whole build up to how that the chase scene came to be, everything I thought was really good about that.
Yeah.
I thought the fight scene in the hallway where they're having this dialogue through the mirror, so to speak, it helps build the tension that you know is ultimately going to come to fruition.
Yeah, it just so it goes downhill for you with the tail whip. Is what
Yeah,
it comes
for me, I thought that, to your point, I guess that sense of he's playing with his food and the idea that you're going to tail whip a guy. You managed to do a 360 wheelie and then just let the wheelie run at it. Like there was just a lot of things that I think it could have did without.
that stuff like felt like it was just there for looks.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah, which to
A
your
bit.
point, I don't know if it needed that. You had already done a lot of good things before that. You kind of cheapened it with it.
I'm with you. So where do we go? Remind me, where do we go off from there? He has to go basically lick his wounds. He gets arrested, as a matter of fact. Will Smith gets arrested.
So right after he gets tail whipped, young Will dips out because the feds start coming out, or the police see it.
And he gets himself out of there.
Yeah, still like very Batman-ish to me, right?
Yeah, how do you just like? I mean, he runs like ridiculously fast. Did anybody notice that in this?
I think it just makes him really aerodynamic.
The speed was crazy.
Still, it was a cut scene. Like I get it. Will looks away, he looks back, and he's gone.
Well,
but,
young.
like, it's everyone is around.
Nobody's seen.
No one saw.
And there was no. To your point, there was no ninja. Like no,
It was just. It's just a hat laying on the ground. That's the scene.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what?
Well, it's like
You jump in the hat. Like, where did it go?
It's
That's actually
young
a really
Will
good point.
and Tom Cruise is like a race I really need to see. A movie race I need to see is Tom Cruise running in Mission Impossible against like young Will
doing parkour,
getting out of there.
Yeah.
I need to see that one.
Scaling a building.
So the
That's
next
a sick ass movie, bro. Sick ass race.
the next big scene that I can think of is the bathhouse, and just because it's a bathhouse mostly, and he finds out again that somehow people are just knowing where the fuck he is. Like again, he's like, "Wait, how'd you know all that information about me?" And this is where I started getting a little like frustrated, because especially on the third watch, because I'm like, we have established that Will is like top notch, right? Like he's supposed to be the best at what he does.
It's supposed to be the big bad.
And it's like, how are you continuously being tracked? And I know we eventually find out, and I'll give the final thoughts on that when we get there. But like, it's like, bro, this is the fourth time in a half an hour that I've seen you just get found.
Like you haven't you haven't gotten away once.
No,
Which at that point in the movie, my frustration wasn't even like high at that point anymore. I was just like,
oh, it's her.
It's her.
Yeah, you just were like,
It's her. Like,
Yeah.
stop playing with me.
But-
Every time he's been caught or been tracked, she's been with you. It's her.
I do feel like they also had to make it feel like young Will was this or Junior. We gotta stop calling him young Will. I do think that they were trying to play Junior as this ultimate apex predator.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, you might be able to get away. You've got the resources. You've got the contacts to get away. But I'm gonna find you regardless. Do you guys feel like they had to kind of soften Henry in a way in order to help establish?
Well, I mean,
Junior?
obviously, I think you had to like. I think Henry was already soft in a way because it's like he's stepping away when he's still relatively for what he had to do to kill people at a high caliber, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think just in that he's already softened and he's ready to not be in that world anymore. And you learn more and more throughout the movie that is like there's humanity in a guy who's like killed 70 something people. You
72
know?
before he went rogue.
I thought you were going to say before.
Dude,
taxes.
it's crazy. He like doubled his kill count
in this movie alone.
In this movie alone, it was insane.
Yeah, so that is nuts that he didn't even make a big deal of that at the end, like that he just killed a bunch.
Well,
of
because he went from like, I don't want to kill you. I know you're here to kill me, but I don't want to kill you. And then it was like, no, I'm gonna murder like 70 and a half people
So
on a Wednesday.
on a Wednesday.
the next two scenes the next two scenes that kind of pop up for me is the coffee shop, which then leads into the catacombs.
Yep.
Right. What did you think of those two scenes?
I thought the catacombs was, to me, this was the corniest scene of
Okay.
the movie. This is where I thought the CGI was goofy.
Okay.
This is it for me.
This was one of the tougher ones, and it's funny because it's in the dark, so I feel like you maybe can hide more.
Yeah, but I think that's what kind of helps it stand out more.
Mhm.
Is like we're a little bit more. I feel like ever since the Game of Thrones fiasco, we're like obsessed with trying to figure things out in the dark with TV and movies. The CGI didn't help at all, and it almost kind of took away from the rest of the film at some points. I was more focused on that.
I did like how we got there though. Like I liked the phone call to the tour in the coffee shop, and it's just like, bitch, like I know everything about you. The one thing that I did not,
It was dope. That scene's dope. Like
I did
Telegram.
question how did he have all the time to do this? Had he already been doing this? Because that's weird too, right? That
We're kind of
freaked me
just
out a
we're
little
kind of
bit.
just expected to go with it at this
did
point.
he just know that like eventually they're gonna turn on me, so I should stalk this girl now. Just get it out of the way. I'm gonna spend a couple weeks outside of her house. I have some free time, vacation, saving it up. Killed 50 people last year. It was one a week. It was nuts. Like
It's one
I
of the
finally-
busiest years I've ever had.
I
in my
have
life.
Wild
like
weekend.
I have 3 months of PTO signed up. Like
It's a
saved
hell of a
up
frat
here.
party.
Yeah. So he's been
Oh,
watching
okay.
it. It just like that was a little bit of like I need to suspend my belief a bit, but I did like the overall scene, like the energy in the scene. The catacombs, it showed vulnerability on both ends. The action didn't look great. I 100% agree with that, but I think I am still a little bit more forgiving in like the dialogue that's had.
It's just really difficult for me to see one superhuman going crazy, and then I'm just supposed to assume that the guy who we know to be this killer who's been getting his ass kicked up until this point taps into this unknown energy and then just starts beating the shit out of each other. It just made it very difficult for me to buy into.
I think it's tough to believe that like physically he was able to really keep up in like a one-on-one battle. But at the same time, this guy, like, there's something to be made of like intelligence, and I think that's what he
That's
did
what
show.
I was waiting on the entire movie, and to come on both of you guys' point. One,
Sorry.
wow, it's crazy. One, I agree. Physically, I don't think he should have been able to keep up with Old Will.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for that time in the movie where he would just say, "Oh, I'm more mature. I'm smart. I remember what a 23-year-old me would do. Let me say what the 33-year-old me would do." And that part never happened. It was more just
They teased that. They teased that almost. They almost
Yeah.
made it seem like he had these moments where he was a step ahead of Junior at at certain points. But then you're slowly just wondering. You're like, you know what? You're really just behind the line here, and we understand why later on, just from a being able to not be one step ahead, but always being two steps behind.
Right.
I think you're to this point though. You're getting the established kind of narrative in this movie that Old Will is breaking down the walls of what he saw in himself in ways, I think, as a younger version. And he's seeing a lot of that in there, like looking in the mirror, they kept referencing that. And I think they do a good job of kind of establishing that narrative that he's got to use all of those emotions that he went through to kind of advance things, you know?
Absolutely.
And then from there, I guess we get into kind of the climax, right?
It's all been building up to this at this point, and we're kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen.
I think Bailey might want to
chime in.
hi.
Young
Yeah, I
Bales.
think she's trying to chime in.
Let me ask you boys a question.
Shoot it.
You boys ready to climax?
Yo, son. Relax, dog.
As
You gotta
ready
relax.
as I'll ever be.
I mean, not with y'all.
Why
I
not?
thought we were going to climax together.
No, we're not. We're never.
No,
climaxing
you said
together.
that we could do it at the same time, but we got to be in different places.
I thought this was a Simo Climo, dude.
No.
Different strokes for different folks.
This ain't a Simo Climo, dude?
This is none of those things that y'all talking about.
I think
that's wild as hell. Y'all sick.
Okay. All right, so this movie, we now get the conversation between a father and a son. Guys.
About climaxing?
About the circle of life, essentially.
The birds and the bees.
Yeah.
Where did I come from, Dad? Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, where did I come from?
Yeah, I mean, he did have the question. He was like, those men who made me in a lab, and it got really awkward.
Yeah,
really
where's mom,
quick.
Dad?
Yeah.
Where's mom?
That's a weird conversation to have
Should've
right
just
off
went
the
with that
bat.
first.
He was like,
Cloud face did kind of screw up. He was like,
also, who's taking somebody on their birthday to go murder turkeys? Like, that was the legitimate thing. Like,
he
hey,
don't even know his birthday.
he was like, bro, we do it every year. How would you know my birthday if I
It's-
was an orphan?
It's so fucked up that he's had to like have that question forever. He's like, dude, like, how are you gonna just make a birthday up? He's like, fam, just tell me what it is. Like, I've been waiting for the real
Today.
thing. Yeah.
Haha.
Surprise!
Surprise! Go kill this guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Here's
dude,
a turkey, kill him.
here's
Happy
the ultimate
birthday.
gift.
Yeah.
So obviously, this conversation does not go well, as we've seen Maury and Regis a million times. Like these conversations, like "you are not the father," never go well. So,
No.
Well, for one person it does usually, but in this case, for neither one, it's potentially really going well. So now young Will Jr. is sent back out.
Yeah.
Final kill shows up with the gat, but it's not bullets. It's like he's on his James Bond shit. Or like Triple X. Like Triple X would have a gun that you could switch to like bee venom.
Yeah, it was like the most casual of attempted murders ever. She was like, "Why would you do that?" He's like, "It's not a bullet."
Son, it was so.
Bro, it was so
And he just
casual.
popped up from behind the hay bale.
Bro,
What was that?
he wasn't even like fully like hiding in that area. He was just like you done.
Dude, I know. Okay, so like I know that there's some way they're tracking him at this point, but it's like, how'd you know that they were gonna walk directly by that hay bale?
Bro, it was almost laser tag-esque.
Yeah.
He just came from around the corner like, gotcha.
When you're paintballing and you're stuck behind the Dorito and you're just like, all right, I'm just gonna fire this over.
Why do you think he had the cure with him too?
Well, I think
Conflicted.
you know.
You think that's what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, I mean,
You
he
bring
says
both.
it. He says it.
Like, just don't bring either.
Well, I think it would have been pretty sadistic if he would have just been like, all right, I just needed to know. And it's like, oh, so you're just going to let him die? Yeah, I mean, I had a job to do.
I had to
Yeah.
figure it out. Whether it was for
I had a
real
job
or
to
not.
do. But it turns out you are allergic to bee venom. Cool.
Oh, you were dead ass. You
No.
really allergic to
Yeah,
bees.
So is he not?
No, they both are.
They both
Okay.
are.
They
so
both
like,
are.
that's why he probably had it, actually.
Well, so I think he planned it out. Like that's a scene that they just don't show you. Like, did he already have these bullets made, or did he have to go custom? Like, there's just a lot of time that we're losing here. But nonetheless, he shoots him with the bee venom, restores his health with epinephrine, and it's like nothing happened. Will's like, yeah, no, I get why you did it,
I
bro.
feel you.
It's all right.
I feel you,
Had to
bro.
be sure.
Yeah.
It's just one of those scenes where you're like, okay, this is one of those comedic moments that just doesn't land.
My whole esophagus was closed at B, but I did.
Yeah, no, he was just really cool with it afterwards. You know what? And it leads to the thing that bothers me. Like, one of the biggest negatives in this movie to me is the revelation as to how he's been being tracked. You've presented a pretty logical case to me as to where he was like, he should have seen the girl as like a red herring, like that's who is tracking me. But it doesn't end up being that.
For the
Right?
record, I
He
think
never
that's a
even
much better
questioned
plot line,
it.
too.
So that's why I think you're right. Like that, why it just seems more realistic to go that road.
And you got a killer and you like her.
Because the problem for me is that he ends up having it in his arm, and it's from a surgery he had 3 years ago. Mind you, there's a scene in the catacombs where Junior doesn't pick up on the fact that there's a bug on Danny.
Yep.
And he gives him shit. He's like, oh, you said you're the best? Like, look where you are right now. You said you're the best? But motherfucker, you didn't think after you had surgery 3 years ago that there's a potential that they could have, like, put something in, especially when all of a sudden people are showing up everywhere you are, that you weren't like, huh, like, it could be me. Like, it could be a tracker on me.
Unless there's a program where, like, he would have known that they're putting trackers in people's biceps, where would you even have started,
You think
dude?
he knows that? He would definitely know that technology's there.
Sure, but, like, where would you start, man? Like, I'm not going to be like, you know what? It's probably right here.
You know what? I'm a fan of you guys, and you talked about alien probes and butt shit recently. What's to say?
Very recently.
Technology is so advanced. If someone chips you, it's not necessarily a fact that you would know. Even at the highest level of assassin.
I think he should just be a little suspicious. He's suspicious about everything else.
What are you gonna take the magnetic wand and like?
I'm not saying that.
Is that stupid of an idea, dude?
It's really not.
When I said it back to myself,
find a metal detector. Go to an airport. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah, I mean, you're not. Both of you aren't wrong, but are we establishing that the first place because these two things kind of meet each other, right? Alien probes, tracking devices. Okay. First place you're checking if you think you're being tracked, is it your butthole?
No. I wipe my ass every day, and that's not the first place I'm checking. Like, if I got a probe in that bitch.
I would just hope that I would be able to know if it had gotten probed.
Could have been a hemorrhoid.
There's just a way bigger issue if I didn't know it got
my
probed.
Shoulder blade be hurting all the time, and I swear there's something back there. I'm not even bullshitting.
What do you think they were trying to find out? Like,
I don't know, but my butt didn't hurt, so I'm good. I don't care whatever else they had playing, but my ass ain't hurt, so that's a win in my book. Whatever else y'all want to find out, you got it. But.
All right. So back to climaxing, gents.
Hey, yo. Relax, girl. That's a terrible transition.
We come to the... we come to the finish. I'm sorry.
We've arrived.
Oh my god!
And we're in an armored vehicle, and there are like, I don't know, still not enough soldiers. Just
you need more?
Yeah, they were. Dude.
All right, can we talk about one moment in the armored vehicle where Junior asks, "Tell me about my mother," and I immediately was like, "Wait, man, dude, I'm not your dad."
Can we get something straight?
Was he protected?
You know, I felt like that was a moment where, like, usually a father and son are like, "Hey, man, tell me about my mom. I never knew about her." And it's like, "Yeah, man, I loved your mom. Like, she was fantastic. She gave me you." Like, it's that conversation. And this, it's like, you know, that's my mom, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, you didn't have nothing to do with her.
Yeah, you just have the memories. Like, it's
really
kind of
weird,
up, yeah.
really weird moment. But then it ultimately leads to this little bonding experience that they have. And when Clive Owen is calling Junior, I'm like, oh shit, this car is gonna blow up.
Yeah.
I immediately, like, I knew some shit was about to go down.
I did say they didn't bring enough men, but I will say they brought the firepower.
They saved all the men for this scene.
Yeah, like
they sacrificed time to bring everybody else.
they had this dude with a rocket launcher. This other dude all of a sudden hits like the turret.
Gatling gun, dude.
Like
gave them no chance.
Yeah. He was going after everybody.
Yeah.
And then you end up with the final scene with Clive Owen and Junior. Not the final scene, but the scene on the rooftop, which I didn't like this because he's like, yeah, he's incapacitated. When he comes and finally like saves Will, he's like, yeah, like I took him out. This dude was like not even tied up, nothing. Like you left him on the roof. Like what is that? That just doesn't make it.
You know what else kind of pissed me off? Two things. As I'll transition from one to the other. One is if that Junior is this ultimate soldier, universal soldier, right? Clive is holding his own with him for a minute. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking, did Clive take the juice or something? Like that's what I was thinking.
Clive doesn't look like he throws hands very often either.
But he was giving Junior the works.
He does drown little kids in water. We didn't actually get into that. That's weird. But
yeah, I'm not even touching.
Yeah, I thought we were just gonna brush past that.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't.
Because Junior definitely tried the same shit with Will. He was like, "Oh, just doing it like my dad does it. Take your kid to school."
Exactly.
He had two weaknesses.
Yeah, it was bad.
And again, not to make light of how that was a big thing for me, but then secondly, you introduced the biggest of the bads, apparently. The
Junior
the
2.0?
Yeah, Junior 2.0.
The one with no feelings.
Yeah, the Universal Soldier with the golden armor. And he's gone in 2 seconds.
He was gone quick.
Right.
But I liked a lot the way they killed him. Like, she throws, like, the flame bomb onto him.
threw
Like,
everything
they threw everything but the
They
kitchen
threw
sink.
oh, dude,
everything
he's, like, on fire, walking through these,
I'm pretty
like,
sure he
Molotov.
breakdanced while
Yeah.
he was on fire at
Dude,
one point.
Like,
and it was
9
dude.
shots from that shotgun, and he finally goes down, and he's still not dead. Like, he still, like, looks like he's actually fine. I was surprised when he died.
Well, that's what they were saying. They're like, you don't feel pain? Because he was just like, oh, this is inconvenient.
This is easy.
Figure this out. Like,
Yeah.
very uncomfortable scene.
Yeah.
That
deserved more.
Yeah,
he
it's
deserved more, man. Like,
Yeah.
give me more playtime with that, Paul.
You shouldn't have used the third. I guess it's good because, like, they wouldn't have made enough money to get a sequel. But it feels like the third should have been, like, the guy with no feelings should have been reserved for the third. Because isn't that, like, the best compliment to what you've done here? Because the flaw in the first one is that you were able to get through to, like, his emotional side, his sentimental side. So the perfection to that would be the guy who has no feelings. So that should have
and
been
he should have
saved
been
for, like,
a much
it's
more
like-
difficult battle.
it's like how T2, like, improves on what T1 did, right?
Yeah.
You go from having an unbeatable force to how would you make him even more unbeatable?
I mean,
you
he
know?
looked like he had the moves, too. He looked faster. He looked stronger.
Yeah.
But
than
that was the
both of
thing.
them.
They illustrated him as this unbeatable force. And to your point, it didn't take long to kind of figure out how they were going to beat him. And I don't buy the fact that these 3 wounded, warriors were going to be the ones to be able to take him out. It just really missed something and didn't deliver on the climax. Like, it is 100% masturbation without the payoff.
The last thing I did not like was the very end scene. The, like, hey, I'm your dad at college with your son. He's met a lot of friends and became very social for a person who didn't actually know any real people, it would seem.
He's
outside
way
his
too
dad.
involved with his emotions at this point to really think that he had been torn away from these emotions to immediately being on the other side of the spectrum just didn't make sense to me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And the CGI, I think, didn't look great at the end
I
either.
agree, too.
That was one of the
stuck out.
times that it really stood out to me there. So we're at the end of the movie here. Let's give our ranking, would we say?
Yeah, I think it's time to put it to the taste test.
Let's get in there. So let's bring back up our taste scoring system and just run through it again for the people out there. Matt, where do we start off? What's the best you can score here?
Well, listen, if you're feeling good, if you're feeling like this is that meal out of prison, you're thinking that porterhouse
It's their last meal, I think. It's not.
God damn, bro. The motherfucker said the meal out of
I've been watching a lot of 60 Days
Yo,
In.
You straight, son?
The steak often.
Letting people know they're in jail for 60
Yo.
days. When they get out, they go to a hotel and they have that last choice meal.
Your first thing out is a porterhouse. Your
Porterhouse
first
steak.
time out is- okay.
Number 1, porterhouse steak,
Okay,
baby. You
I
can't
dig
beat
it.
that.
I dig it, bro.
Do you agree?
I mean, I like steak, but I don't, my first thought isn't what I mean.
Prison.
First thing I get out of prison.
So-
we'll visit that in another day.
That's-
So if you're like that A1 best of the best, you would get a porterhouse steak.
Yes, sir.
Next up, if you're like a step below that, just a little
If
bit
you're
of
just a
tea-
step
it's-
below there,
yeah.
you're just not quite the best of the best, but everybody's
Oh,
willing to take you
really,
home.
Really good. Something really good.
Yeah.
We like to think of that as dessert.
Yeah.
We're putting it to some cake.
Just a piece of cake, baby.
Yeah. But then we've all been there where you're going to the bar, you're going to a restaurant. There's just something on the table that you're not really hungry for, but you're okay with eating it.
Pick it away. Maybe it's beer nuts for some people.
Sure. Put your nuts where your mouth are.
pistachios.
But in this case,
though,
it's chips. That
Shit's-
shit's chips.
Shit's chips, baby.
Never
And-
putting my nuts where my mouth is.
We are happy to introduce a segment, a ranking that found its home right here on 321 Spoiler,
Yes.
episode 1, The Gentleman.
Yes.
Coming home from the bar, coming home from the club, that late night, I'm not trying to make nothing. Let me get that bologna, baby.
Yep.
The struggle of all struggle meals.
Bologna.
Roll it up, put it in the microwave, let me have it.
But it's funny because you say that because somehow underneath the struggle of all struggle meals, we found a way to find something.
Well, we all know
Worse.
there's just
When
that
when
one.
you're from the struggle, you get it.
Mhm.
Bologna and mustard sandwiches, I'll never kick that to the curb.
Well-
I mean, I'm not eating it, but I appreciate it.
Listen, you got it. Sustenance is sustenance. And when you're truly at your wit's end and you're put in front of a plate that you're not willing to bite the dust on, unless it's your mom's special recipe.
Okay, you-
Love you, Mom. Had to bring that
Hold that
back.
down every episode we doing this.
Yeah.
That shit's meatloaf.
I'm good.
Don't want it. Keep that shit in the elementary school cafeteria.
I'm good.
Keep it away from me.
Yeah,
I'm good.
lunch lady Betty can fucking.
I
have
can't
the
never
meatloaf.
ever tell you the time where I wanted some fucking meatloaf.
That is our absolute worst.
Mhm.
So, where do you guys put this movie, Gemini Man, on the taste test? Does it rank up to our number one porterhouse steak? Or does it fall all the way down to being that doo-doo in the toilet meatloaf?
Except for your mom's.
Except for Mom's secret recipe. It's not
I'm
secret.
the guest. I know you guys. You go 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with this a little bit, y'all.
Just a little?
Just a little. I struggle with this because in my heart of hearts, I want to give this chips. Right dead smack in the middle. However, I can't see myself going to ever revisit this again. I'm good. Gemini was all right. Am I purposely going to put it on to watch it again? No. So with that said, my mind's telling me no, but my body is telling me yes. I'm going with bologna sandwich. That was real nasty, Lenny. Wow. That was so sick.
It was a spit take, too. I couldn't believe you. I couldn't believe you had said that.
I'm going with bologna, guys. A bologna sandwich. I'm straight, man. Like I'm good on it.
I'll tell you, I was ready to go first, but I didn't really want to, and it's because I knew that I was going to be in the unpopular opinion here.
Oh, I love it.
I knew that I was not going to be on the same page as you guys.
Perfect. I love it.
I guess I'm just in a forgiving mood. I could definitely see this isn't a good movie by any means, but it's not to me a bad movie either. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's chips. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm just, maybe if I see it on at some point, I'll surf through and see if there's anything better. And if there's nothing better, I'll be okay just kind of leaving it on. And just, eating away at it,
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll tell you what, buddy. Break that bag open. Because for me, if I, walked into somebody's house and they were watching this movie, I wouldn't tell them to turn it off. But I certainly wouldn't tell them to start it from the beginning either. So for me, it just happens to be that bag of chips that's just sitting there and it's already cracked open.
So there's stale chips. Matt actually just said it was stale chips.
That's literally where I was at, y'all. What if it's like 2 regular Lay's potato chips on a plate and then like a 3/4 eaten bologna sandwich? Like that's kind of where I'm like.
I'm gonna tell you what. Any contaminated bologna, it's not bologna I'm touching.
You know what I think this is? This is like
I gotta pull that bologna out the pack.
It's like when you make nachos. And you get down to the bottom of the plate of nachos, and you get those ones that don't have any like cheese or toppings on it.
You're looking at them in such disdain.
You're just like, I don't want to have to eat these, but like, they're there.
I paid for them.
That's what I said to y'all. Like, it's not chips. I guess it's bologna. I'm not mad at it. Like,
I think you should stick to your original. I thought Matt was going to come in at bologna.
I thought he was. I'm bologna.
I was getting some bologna vibes from him.
I'm bologna.
Listen, man, I'm not no bologna. I'm serious. I thought that this was something that I wouldn't certainly go out of my way to watch, but I certainly wouldn't go out of my way to turn it off either. There's certainly some visual effects there that are captivating to the eye.
Also some that are wonky.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this deserves that early Monday morning watch when I'm trying to, multitask. Not something I'm willing to throw to the bologna or meatloaf section yet.
So I guess you have it there. We have given this a jumbo bag of chips and a 3/4 of a way eaten.
It's like bologna flavored
sandwich.
Lay's.
Oh, that's actually worse than 3 or 4.
Yeah, bro. We're not gonna disrespect it like that.
I didn't know that was a real flavor, but I was just trying to set it to.
Let's not give anybody any ideas.
Oh,
sorry. Lay's, shut off your recordings.
So Matt, where can they find us and let us know how they feel about this?
Well, they can find us everywhere.
About Gemini Man.
They can find us right in here. Good Taste Studios.
Hey.
Right here on the YouTube channel.
Same bat time, same bat YouTube channel.
Yeah, sometimes the table's in different places. But you can also find us on Instagram at For Those With Good Taste. At Twitter, hired a new Twitter guy, at Good Taste Live, killing it.
Yeah, he's the best.
You can also hit us on our link tree, which is always popping. Find it on Instagram, at Good Taste Live. Also hit us on our YouTube channel.
Yep. We are also on every other platform possible. D, where do you listen to For Those With Good Taste?
I listen to For Those With Good Taste. I watch it on YouTube, and then I listen on Google Podcasts.
Google Podcast. We're there. Check us out there. D, where can they find you at, buddy?
You can find me on Instagram at offset_Austin, ALSTON. But I live in the chat. Y'all can hit me in the chat, y'all. That's where I'm at all the time.
You find
Bees
them
in
right
the trap.
below here.
Find me in the subscription tab over there. Make sure to hit that.
Bees in the chat. Bees in the chat. That's where I be.
Have you learned nothing? We're allergic to bees.
Yeah. Epinephrine.
We're out of here, guys.
I like that.
Till next
3,
week.
2, 1 spoiler. Thanks for checking out episode 2. We're out.
Gang, gang.
Till next time.
Buzz, buzz.
For those with good taste.